back to the channel. Today we're going to unravel some incredibly complex events in Genoa. Rumors are circulating around the Newman family, but what's the truth? In this video, I'll summarize the plot points that will be revealed in the next episode. Stay tuned to see what happens.
Welcome back to our channel, Soap Opera Aficionados. Today is a spectacular day to dive deep into the scandalous, heart-wrenching, and utterly explosive drama brewing in Genoa City. Grab your favorite beverage and settle in, because the impending twists will leave you absolutely breathless. Young and the Restless spoilers. The landscape of Genoa City is about to be violently reshaped by a series of shocking family secrets and unexpected plot twists that will leave multiple characters reeling in disbelief. At the center of this impending storm is a devastating medical tragedy that threatens to break the unbreakable Newman matriarch, alongside a scandalous, highly toxic romantic entanglement that will send shockwaves through the entire town. As hidden truths are dragged into the unforgiving light of day, tense confrontations and suspenseful interrogations will force our favorite characters to confront their darkest fears. The intricate web of lies, manipulation, and unexpected turns is tightening, promising a week of unparalleled drama where loyalty is tested and the consequences of past sins come back to haunt the present with terrifying ferocity. The emotional epicenter of this cataclysmic shift begins in the sterile, tension-filled corridors of Genoa City Memorial Hospital. Nikki Newman, the fiercely resilient matriarch of the Newman dynasty, is preparing to face the most terrifying moment of her life. The day for her bandage removal has finally arrived, following a high-stakes optic nerve surgery that held the fragile promise of restoring her stolen sight. The atmosphere in the waiting room is suffocatingly thick with anxiety, as Victoria Newman, Nick Newman, Victor Newman, and Claire Newman gather to support the woman who has always been their ultimate pillar of strength. Nikki initially decides to face the medical assessment alone, a testament to her fierce independence, but the crushing weight of the unknown forces, a sudden change of heart. Vulnerable and trembling with anticipation, she asks Dr. Nowling if a family member can accompany her into the examination room, desperate for a familiar presence in the terrifying darkness. Without a second of hesitation, Victor Newman steps forward, his authoritative presence softening into profound tenderness as he takes his place by his beloved wife's side. The suspense in the room is agonizing as Dr. Nowling carefully, methodically begins to unravel the bandages that have shielded Nikki's eyes from the world. Every second feels like an eternity for the Newman family, their collective breath held in a desperate prayer for a medical miracle. As the final layer of gauze is pulled away, the silence in the room becomes deafening. Nikki slowly flutters her eyes open, blinking against the anticipated light, but the devastating reality of her condition crashes down upon her with brutal finality. "It is all black," she cries out, her voice breaking with an unfathomable sorrow that shatters the hearts of everyone in the room. There is nothing. The surgery, the hope, the endless prayers have all culminated in a tragic failure, leaving Nikki trapped in a permanent, inescapable void. The aftermath of this catastrophic medical revelation casts a dark, mournful shadow over the Newman family as they return to the sprawling estate of the Newman Ranch. The usually vibrant and powerful family is reduced to a state of quiet, agonizing grief. Victor, desperate to fix the unfixable, attempts to wrap his wife in a cocoon of optimistic delusion. He firmly tells Nikki that this total blindness is merely a temporary setback, a transient phase in her ongoing recovery, and that her vision will inevitably return. Nikki, summoning every ounce of her legendary fortitude, puts on a brave face for her devastated family. She softly replies that she is holding on to the hope that, one day soon, she will be able to look upon their cherished faces once again. It is a masterful, heartbreaking performance designed to shield her children and her husband from the true depth of her despair, but beneath the surface, Nikki's spirit is entirely broken. The facade crumbles the moment Nikki decides to retreat to the sanctuary of her bedroom. Victor immediately offers his arm to guide her, but Nikki vehemently insists on navigating the familiar path entirely on her own, a desperate bid to retain some semblance of her stolen autonomy. Once the heavy oak door clicks shut behind her, sealing her in solitary darkness, the dam breaks. She blindly makes her way to her elegant vanity, sitting before the mirror she can no longer see. The cruel irony of sitting before her own reflection in absolute blackness is too much to bear. Her trembling hand finds a silver hairbrush on the vanity. In a sudden, violent eruption of grief, frustration, and sheer terror, Nikki hurls the comb directly at the mirror. The glass shatters into 1,000 jagged pieces, the sharp, violent sound echoing through the silent room like a physical manifestation of her broken soul. Nikki collapses into agonizing, visceral sobs, mourning the loss of her sight and the terrifying new reality she must now navigate alone. While the Newman family is drowning in a profound, heartbreaking tragedy, a vastly different, deeply scandalous crisis is brewing behind the locked doors of a luxurious suite at the Genoa City Athletic Club. Phyllis Summers, a woman renowned for her cunning intellect and dangerous gambles, is waking up to a shocking new reality of her own making. Draped in an elegant silk robe, Phyllis steps into the living area of her suite to find the amnesiac Matt Clark sleeping on her plush sofa. The visual of the town's most notorious, historically violent villain resting peacefully in her private sanctuary is a jarring testament to the bizarre, twisted dynamic that has rapidly developed between them. Phyllis is playing an incredibly dangerous psychological game, toying with a man whose forgotten past is littered with the shattered lives of her closest acquaintances. Yet she finds herself inexplicably drawn to this blank slate version of a monster. "Good morning," Matt says, his voice groggy but laced with a surprising gentleness as he awakens to find Phyllis watching him. The air between them is thick with the unspoken tension of the previous night's events. They delve into a deeply intimate conversation about why Matt abruptly halted their escalating physical intimacy the night before. Matt, displaying a shocking level of moral restraint that contradicts every known facet of his true identity, confesses that he stopped because he did not want to take advantage of her vulnerability. He reveals his intention to leave Genoa City, believing that his presence is only causing chaos, and he refused to use Phyllis as a temporary distraction. This unexpected display of honor catches Phyllis entirely off guard, piercing through her usual armor of cynical detachment. "You made me laugh last night," Phyllis admits, her voice softening with a rare, genuine vulnerability. "I also felt safe when I was with you." It is a stunning admission, highlighting the twisted irony that she feels secure in the presence of a man who once terrorized her friends. Driven by a complex cocktail of genuine intrigue, manipulative strategy, and an undeniable magnetic chemistry, Phyllis makes a bold, unprecedented move. She looks at the man who represents a walking, breathing threat to the Newman family and asks him to go on a proper date with her. It is a shocking proposition that blurs the perilous line between a calculated corporate maneuver and a genuine romantic connection. Phyllis is actively choosing to challenge love once again, placing her trust in the gentle, amnesiac facade of a man whose true nature is historically monstrous. She asks Matt if he can truly bring her the real, unadulterated happiness she has been desperately seeking, willingly ignoring the catastrophic risks associated with keeping him in her orbit. This decision sets the stage for a massive, explosive conflict, as Phyllis willingly binds herself to the ultimate pariah of Genoa City. Their unconventional romance moves to the upscale dining room of society, a public venue where their unholy alliance is put on full display for the judging eyes of Genoa City's elite. Over a lavish meal, Phyllis shifts the conversation from romance to cold, hard corporate strategy. She reveals to Matt that Victor Newman has handed her a company named Arabesque, and she is in desperate need of someone with his unique, aggressive skill set to help her build it from the ground up. She officially offers Matt a lucrative position within her new corporate empire. Matt, demonstrating a sharp intuition despite his missing memories, looks at her with deep skepticism. "Why are you hiring me?" he asks, his eyes narrowing. "I feel a little bit like you are pitying me." Phyllis quickly shuts down his doubts, her eyes gleaming with ambitious fire. She assures him that this is not an act of charity, but a mutually beneficial partnership designed to leverage his raw potential and solidify her own power base against the Newmans. The shocking evolution of Phyllis and Matt's relationship reaches an absolute boiling point when a scandalous, earth-shattering rumor begins to spread like wildfire through the manicured streets of Genoa City. The whispers and hushed conversations all point to a singular, horrifying truth. News has spread that Phyllis Summers has actually accepted a proposal from Matt Clark. Whether this is a formal proposal of marriage or a deeply binding commitment of a permanent partnership, the news is a cataclysmic bombshell that threatens to tear the fabric of the town's social hierarchy to shreds. The very idea that Phyllis would permanently align herself with a man who has inflicted such profound, lasting trauma on the people she claims to care about is viewed as the ultimate, unforgivable betrayal. The revelation acts as a lit match dropped into a powder keg of unresolved historical trauma, setting the stage for a series of violent, emotional explosions. The news of this unholy union hits Nick Newman like a physical blow, triggering a volcanic eruption of sheer, unadulterated fury. Nick, who is already fighting a grueling, agonizing battle against his severe fentanyl addiction and drowning in the grief of his mother's permanent blindness, views Phyllis's acceptance of Matt's proposal as a direct, intentional threat to his family's safety. For Nick, this is not merely a poor romantic choice, it is a profound, deeply personal betrayal of the highest order. He furiously tracks Phyllis down, initiating a tense, highly explosive confrontation. Nick aggressively interrogates her motives, his voice shaking with rage as he warns her of the true, monstrous nature of the man she is inviting into her bed and her boardroom. He unequivocally declares that he will never, under any circumstances, accept this marriage or partnership, drawing a permanent, hostile line in the sand between them. The terrifying openings of Phyllis and Matt's formalized alliance send Sharon Collins into a state of absolute, paralyzing panic. As one of Matt's most prominent historical victims, Sharon is intimately acquainted with the depths of his depravity and the sheer terror he is capable of inflicting. The news that Matt is now permanently embedded in Genoa City's elite circle, shielded by Phyllis's wealth and corporate influence, resurfaces decades of buried trauma. Sharon's primary, overriding instinct is the fierce maternal protection of her children, Faith and Noah. Terrified that Matt's amnesia is either a calculated ruse or a temporary state that will eventually shatter, Sharon begins frantically exploring every possible avenue to neutralize the threat. She desperately considers pursuing aggressive legal action, restraining orders, or any judicial measure available to legally banish Matt from their lives and ensure he can never come near her family again. As the week draws to a close, the residents of Genoa City find themselves trapped in a suffocating web of tragedy, betrayal, and impending doom. The Newman family is forced to navigate the agonizing, heartbreaking reality of Nikki's shattered world, their usual invincibility replaced by a profound, terrifying vulnerability. Simultaneously, Phyllis Summers's shocking decision to embrace the darkness by accepting Matt Clark's proposal has ignited a furious, desperate war with Nick and Sharon, who are willing to go to any lengths to protect their loved ones from the monster in their midst. The lines between love and manipulation, sanity and addiction, salvation and ruin have never been more dangerously blurred. With explosive secrets simmering just beneath the surface and tense confrontations threatening to turn violent, the stage is set for a catastrophic reckoning that will forever alter the destinies of everyone involved.